U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Wednesday accused China of intimidating journalists and ordinary citizens who, he says, simply want a better future.
In July, Wang Mayu stood outside a police station calling for elections. The police arrested him, and less than 3 months later his wife got a call. He was dead. She never got an explanation. Instead, she was brought in and asked to identify a body so bruised and broken it was barely recognizable.
Pompeo criticized the Chinese Communist Party's record in the Xinjiang region, including an intensified campaign of mass detention by Chinese officials of members of Muslim minority groups, calling their treatment the stain of the century.
In China, the Chinese Communist Party uses high-tech surveillance systems to monitor potential dissidents. It's imprisoning religious minorities in internment camps, part of its historic antipathy to religious believers.
Beijing denies any mistreatment of the Uyghurs or others in Xinjiang, saying it's providing vocational training to help stamp out militancy and separatism and teach new skills. The Secretary of State says abuses in China mirror those in Iran, highlighting widespread protests that began there last November after a fuel price increase. He zeroed in on a young Iranian engineer, Puya Bakhtiari.
He was a young engineer, one of hundreds of thousands of Iranians who protested the regime last fall. His mother, Nahid, was with him. By the end of the day, they were no longer marching shoulder to shoulder. Nahid was holding her 27-year-old son's body. Puya had been shot in the head by security forces.
In Venezuela, the State Department cited restrictions on political participation and the stifling of free expression. On Tuesday, Venezuelan police used tear gas to break up an anti-government demonstration in Caracas called by opposition leader Juan Guaido. Washington also accused the Maduro government of unlawful and arbitrary killings of citizens,
including extrajudicial killings, forced disappearances, torture, and arbitrary detentions.
The report notes human rights violations in Cuba as well. The report, mandated by Congress, documents human rights conditions in nearly 200 countries and territories and is put together by staff at U.S. embassies throughout the world. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.